Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Faisal Ramadan from History Educational Program, Faculty of Social Science, Jakarta State University. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about the conflict that was happening recently between Russia and Ukraine. I'm gonna talk about what is the main cause of this conflict and why is this conflict was escalated into a military altercations. This topic was actually a bit sensitive, but I'm trying my best to choose the most polite words according to the information that I read, so it won't cause any misunderstandings or any misleadings. So without further ado, let's get into the topic. Russia and Ukraine has a lot of history, because they were used to be united in the uni-Soviet era. And after the Soviet collapsed in 1991, all the countries became an independent country, including Russia and Ukraine itself. The relationship between Russia and Ukraine began to get heated in 2013. At that time, Ukraine's President Viktor Yanukovych rejected an economical and political agreement with European Union to get a closer relationship with Russia. Most of Ukrainians don't like this act. So, a year later, in 2014, they decided to hold a huge demonstration called Euromaidan, starting from February 2014. After several months of demonstration, it resulted in the downfall of Viktor Yanukovych from his presidency. Russia responded to this issue by doing an annexation towards Crimea, and after a few days of military operation, they managed to claim Crimea as the part of territory. The impact of Crimea annexation was pretty huge for Ukraine, because not long after that, there was a pro-Russia rebellion movement in Luhansk and Donetsk. They declared themselves as People's Republic of Luhansk and People's Republic of Donetsk. This movement was gaining a lot of support from Russia. On 2015, there was a ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine called the Minsk Agreement. But this agreement was not really effective to minimize the tensions between both countries, because both countries just keep blaming each other for violations of this agreement. On 2019, Volodymyr Zelensky was elected as the president of Ukraine. Under his regime, Ukraine's political view was heading towards the west, and they were planning to join NATO to maintain their safety and to get out from Russia's pressure. Russia clearly didn't like this, because they thought if Ukraine decided to join NATO, it will bring a huge threat towards Russia, because if they did, they will be a part of NATO's territory, and NATO will have rights to do military activities such as deploying their troops and build a military base in order to protect Ukraine. And this was very concerning for Russia's national safety. The response to this issue was even more concerning for Ukraine. Starting from November 2021, Russia was deploying dozens of troops to the Russia-Ukraine border, and they surrounded all sides of Ukraine. As per February 2022, it was estimated that was about 120,000 troops was deployed in there. The West countries started to warn Russia that they will give a lot of economical sanctions if Russia decided to attack Ukraine. And US President Joe Biden said that there will be a possibility that Russia will launch an attack towards Ukraine on February 2022. The tensions was just getting more and more intense. On February 21st, President Putin announces that Russia recognized the independence of the two separatist regions in Ukraine, People's Republic of Donetsk and People's Republic of Luhansk. It means that if Russia decided to attack Ukraine, they will be able to gain support from those two regions. And 3 days later, on February 24th, President Putin announces that Russia will take a military action towards Ukraine. This attack was claimed as the biggest military action done by a European country since World War II. The Western countries responded by giving a lot of economical sanctions towards Russia. According to the information that I read, so far, it can be said that Russia's main target for now is to take over Kiev, but until now they were still struggling to do so because of a strong resistance by the Ukrainian army. A peace talk between Russia and Ukraine to solve this problem was already planned, but until now it still didn't have any impact for this conflict, or in other words, it was just a stalemate. A lot of questions appeared during this conflict, but there is one question that was very interesting. What does Putin want? A lot of assumptions made by the mainstream media, military and political analysts, and also from the other people around the world. Some of them said that Putin wanted to bring back and unite all the ex-Soviet countries to build the new Soviet. And the other assumptions said that Putin just wanted to give a huge warning to Ukraine to not join NATO and still remain as a neutral country and think about the safety and the consequences for both countries. But we have to remember, those are just opinions and assumptions. The clear fact about this will still remain unclear. For now, we just have to keep learning and being up to date about this issue, because this conflict can also affect the global geopolitical conditions, or in other words, it has a potential to give an impact to our lives. I suggest that it will be better if we remain neutral. Why? Because, as it mentioned earlier, the clear fact about things related to this conflict will still remain unclear until now. That's why I think picking a side will only make everything worse, especially if you don't know the background of this issue and picking sides just because of sentiments. Despite everything that was happening right now, I just wanted to say that we still have to remain sure that war, invasions, and any kinds of military conflicts has to be stopped, because obviously it can bring a huge and bad impact towards other people's lives. And I think we should prioritize diplomacy. In my opinion, we have to prioritize diplomacy, where we can sit and talk and think together about how to solve this problem, and think about the consequences if both of you were involved in a conflict. I mean, I know it was not that easy, but I believe it was worth a try. And at last but not least, I just wanted to say that I hope this conflict, or any kinds of conflicts around the world, either it was Ukraine versus Russia, Israel and Palestine, and any kinds of conflicts, I hope it will come to an end soon, so all of us around the world can live peacefully. No more wars, no invasions, just peace. Okay? And yeah, that's it for my explanations about this conflict. I hope there will be no misunderstanding and misleading according to my explanations. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you so much for your attention. Большое спасибо. До побачення. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.